What is going on, guys? It's Triple G here, back with another Godfall video, and today we're going to be going through a really simple but absolutely powerful Bulwark build. Guys, if you enjoy this video, please consider subscribing to the channel or join us over on Twitch. We stream 5 times a week. And otherwise, let's get straight into this video. So one of the things I want to just shout out about this build is made for mobbing and bossing. It can absolutely destroy bosses like you've just seen in the footage at the start of this video, or you can use it for mobbing and just destroy the tower. My current tower record is about level 12 on level 50, so not too bad at all. So first of all, let's go through the gear. So one of the things you want to be looking out for when you get to level 50 is a Sword of Courage. This synergizes really well with the Bulwark because this will give you extra projectiles whenever you inflict bleed. Bulwark has a passive skill which will let you inflict bleed at 10%. This can be buffed through the skill tree. I have it at 31%, and it actually goes to 90% while in Archon Fury, which means you are going to absolutely destroy enemies. The second piece of gear that you want to be looking out for is a Dark Star Crusher. Now this item can be used at any point in time really, but I really like it for bossing. What you want to be doing is you want to be running up to the enemy and using a weapon technique. That will create this time bubble that slows enemies by 30%, enabling you to get in there and hit this enemy with a ton of damage. It's really insane. So next up we have the Amulet of Betrayer. If you would be reduced to 0 health, instead remain at 1 health and become invulnerable for 5 seconds. Now this is really good for this particular build because where we're up and close, sometimes they can hit you with an AoE, and that might actually cause you to die. But with this amulet, it doesn't actually allow you to die. You can get away, use a life stone, and go again. Next up, we have the Talisman. This is our charm. This is going to buff our critical hit damage and our weapon technique charge time, which is really nice. We have the Embrace as our ring next. This is going to give us an overhealth every single time we hit a weak point, which is really nice. Then we have the Ring of the Worthy, which is going to give us the Blessing of Luck. Blessing of Luck gives us extra critical hit chance, which is lovely. And again, you want to be looking for all these kind of little blessings as we go through, but I'll show you those. Then we have the Archon's Tier. This is absolutely amazing. It's going to give you extra critical hit chance and critical hit damage. I also have weapon technique damage and critical hit chance on the actual item itself. And then the banner. Now the banner's up to you. I've gone for more critical hit damage, critical hit chance. There's weapon technique damage, whatever you want in there, but mine does have longsword damage and weapon technique damage, which is my primary weapon. Onto the augments then. Now augments play a major role in how this build functions. You'll have seen from how we actually chain through the bosses that we actually had our weapon technique up pretty much 100% of the time, and that's down to how our augments function. So first up we have Overstrike. This will apply the mark of fragility whenever you hit an enemy with a polarity attack. This will mean that when you are knee deep in a fight, you can switch to polarity and you will debuff the enemy, which can come in really handy. It also has a nice passive of 28% bleed damage, which works very well with the build. Then we have the Frostfire, which is a pure critical hit damage during Rampage. We're going to be using Rampage a lot. We're going to be hitting a lot of attacks very quickly, so our Rampage is going to be charged, and we have longsword damage here. The next thing we have the Twilight Bloom. Now this is going to give us weapon technique damage if the 2 adjacent augments are red, of which they are, of 85%. And we also have an additional 20% weapon technique damage on there. Then we have something that's absolutely critical and how we are doing so much damage to the build. This is the Surety legendary augment. Now, whenever you hit an enemy with your northern technique, you expose the enemy's weak points and deal 102% weak point damage the next time that you hit a weak point. So you'll see from the footage when we were charging in, as soon as that weapon technique was ended, we absolutely hit that next weak point and it does a ton of damage, absolutely a ton of damage. We also have 22% weapon technique damage rolled on this card. Then I have the Divine Conduit, which is going to give us some Archon Fury charge speed for 10 seconds whenever we are hit. Next we have the Expanded Mind, which will give us an additional 70% spirit for adjacent augments. We have the Rift, which will give us 30% damage for each ailment. Just FYI, ailment means bleed on this build. We have the Absorption, which is gain 50% Archon Fury charge speed for 10 seconds whenever we hit a weak point, and we are guaranteeing hitting a weak point with our Surety. And then finally, I have a Lucid Vision here, which gives us 51 health whenever we hit an enemy with a shield. Not ideal in terms of the primary, but the passive is 26% damage to bleeding the enemies, so that's why we've got that in there. As you can see, the augments make a massive part into how we are chaining our weapon techniques and guaranteeing our weak point hits. As we move on to the skills, you'll see here that this is pretty much spec'd for how we can do as much damage as possible. So the top row, we have 5 in weapon techniques, just a point in weapon timing. We don't need weapon timing for this build. We have 5 into might, 5 into rampage, and 5 into polarity. 4 into breach. The final skill in breach, I didn't find that we were using that much. Critical hit damage of 5 and soul shatter of 5. Then we have 5 in crit damage, 5 in Archon Fury, 5 in ailment, which is how our bleed damage gets buffed, and 5 in all stats. I didn't take takedowns, but if you are planning to do any mobbing, you may want to do that. Just a point in finesse for the double dodge. 5 into weak points, obviously, because we're guaranteeing hitting weak points. 5 into spirit. 2 into banners, because I do enjoy having that little bit of health. And then a solitary point into shield throw. So as I said at the start of this video, guys, the gameplay loop is really, really simple. Run up to the boss, slow down time, hit him with a weapon technique, guarantee that weak point, and then just start hitting away, basically. And the bosses just get absolutely melted. Guys, if you have enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel or join us over on Twitch. We stream 5 times a week. And otherwise, I'll catch you on the flip.